This is Coach Yash with you, and today I'm going to be covering the topic of how to get fit or how to do bodybuilding whilst on a budget. You know, a lot of people like to think that getting fit or this fitness thing or dropping body fat, building muscle is expensive. Well, a certain bit of financial commitment is required, but I can assure you that it's not that expensive unless and until you're taking steroids, which is like a whole new other ball game, or even if you're like a natural professional bodybuilder, which is like a whole new other ball game basically. It is really not that expensive. Let's explore the facts. What do you need in order for you to get fit, build an impressive beach-like physique? You need a gym, you need food, you need a fitness watch, you need the right guidance, you need, what else do you need? Yeah, you need a few basic supplements. That basically is it. Far too many people like to overcomplicate these things. You know, trust me, I've been where you've been. I've been broke, you know, and those are some really, really hard times. But I made it work, you know, and I made the most amount of progress whilst I was broke, because let me just get this straight, right? When you got broke, when you got nothing going on for yourself, right? You got a lot of time on your hand, and when you got a lot of money, you got less time on your hand, like right now. Don't want to say that I've got a lot of money or something like that, but like right now, how do I say this? It is, let me just look at the time, 11:12 p.m. basically. Usually I like to sleep at like 11:30 p.m. every day, but then today I was like, I gotta get this video out. So yeah, like if you're broke, you don't have much going on for you, you got a lot of time and you can make this work. Right, so let's probably start with the basics. What do you need? You need a gym, you need to track your steps, you need a proper nutritional approach. That basically is it. So when it comes to a gym, please don't cheap out by joining a building gym, but take the amount of money that you spend on the weekends whilst you're getting fucked up, you know, spending on food and drinks, on shit food basically throughout the week in the form of takeaways, and take that same kind of money, invest it in a cheap gym next to your house. Now, when it comes to what you're supposed to see inside the gym is supposed to have a multi-station cable stack. You know, it's supposed to have a Smith machine. It's supposed to have some form of a leg curl machine. It doesn't need to have like both the leg curl machines, like the seated leg curl or the lying leg curl. Any one is fine. A leg extension machine, a wide range of dumbbells, and suitable benches, a squat rack, you know, a power rack to be precise, and that basically is all you need. That's all you need basically in order to build up an impressive physique. Did I forget to mention Smith machine? Yeah, that's all you need. Literally, that's all you need in order for you to build up an impressive physique. But far too many people, when it comes to getting fit, they probably go like, oh, which gym do you go to? You know, I gotta join this gym. Like, no. You can go to any gym you want as long as it's not a building gym. Why am I so against the building gym? Because most of the people who design a building gym in the first place don't really know what they're doing. They don't really build a building gym from a place of helping people build muscle. You know, they put in a lot of cardio equipment, and you don't really need a treadmill basically. You can just simply walk outside, or if you want to really raise up your heart rate up, you can just simply go out and run. And if you can't run, go and get like a bit of a cycle, or you can go to the nearby park, or you can use the staircase in your building. But you don't really need a building gym. A cheap gym approximately is going to cost you something like 200 dirhams, which in US terms might probably come up to be something like $55 US. I can guarantee you that you probably spend that much on a weekend and you might probably complain, you know, like bodybuilding is not possible, it's expensive, blah blah blah. Yeah, make sure that the cheap gym is right next to your house, or it's right next to your work, so that is logistically feasible for you to, how do I say this? It's logistically feasible for you to just simply get things done basically. It's as simple as that, you know, because a lot of people, they get a cheap gym membership which is way out of the way, as a result of which they skip out on the training. You know, you should never ever skip out on your training basically. Anywhere between something like 3 to 5 times per week is going to be like a really, really good sign. Or you can probably just simply build up your own home gym. But if you're running on a budget, that might not be possible, because you might probably see the costs to be as far more expensive in the short run, but in the long run, a home gym, you know, not like fucking mats and big dumbbells and all of that, but a proper home gym with like the right equipment it's going to be far more cheaper in the long run. Basically, you don't want to go for a gym which you're gonna subscribe or get a membership for, which has saunas and all of that, or locker rooms and just a cheap hardcore gym where people are working hard is going to be more than enough. Now, when it comes to movement, you do need some sort of a step tracker to ensure that you're simply moderately moving throughout the day, something like 10,000 steps. You don't really need to buy an Apple Watch or a Whoop. Sorry, I said the Whoop word because it's cringe. You know, like a lot of people who wear the Whoops even in the first place don't really do the basics. That's fucking stupid, right? You can simply make and track your steps and drop body fat by just doing your steps. And if you can't afford an Apple Watch, you don't need to buy an Apple Watch. I don't wear an Apple Watch. I just wear a fitness ring because I like to wear a normal watch, by the way. You can just simply get yourself like one of these cheap Chinese fitness watches which just tracks your steps. Or if you can't even do that, you get like one of these manual pedometers which you can just attach to yourself and get things done with. You know, it costs you something like 74 dirhams, which is something like $25 basically. It's that dirt cheap. Or if that's also not possible, you anyways carry your cell phone around with you, you can just simply use your step tracker on the health app on your iPhone, or you can just download one of these apps if you're an Android user, and you can just simply track your steps. It's that simple, you know. But a step tracker is like a cheap step tracker which you can probably get off Temu or Amazon for, I don't know, $30 or 75 dirhams. I would highly suggest you probably get that because it's around your hand. You're going to be checking it like 1,000 times a day, as a result of which you're going to build that awareness, as a result of which you're simply going to move more, as a result of which you're going to drop body fat. It's that dead simple. The other thing that you want to look at is food. Yeah, food is really, really huge. Now, first of all, you don't need to buy organic. Second of all, you don't need to buy protein shakes. You know, even the protein shakes in the long run are far more cheaper than whole foods. But you don't need to buy expensive bars. You don't need to buy expensive supplements. You can do things on a budget, even though it's not ideal. Tin foods and water, suspended water, are good enough. Tuna tins, a lot of Marines that I work with, they use like tin foods, canned foods, smoked meats. Even though it's not ideal, even though it's not relatively healthy, it sure as hell healthier than being a fat fuck and eating shit like pizzas and all of that and calling it healthy compared to smoked meats. So smoked salmon, smoked turkey breast, you can probably get it off the supermarket. What else? You can bulk buy like normal low-fat yogurt or skimmed yogurt instead of Greek yogurt. That's also like a cheaper alternative. Skim milk is really, really good. Low-fat milk is really good if you're not allergic to dairy. Then buying like whole wheat bread, whole wheat flour, like normal white rice instead of brown rice in bulk is going to be like a really, really good idea. You don't need to buy like, how do I say this? You don't really need to get things like organic vegetables, or even like non-organic vegetables. You can simply get like frozen vegetables. Yes, it's processed. Yes, it's probably got preservatives, but having preservatives or the food being processed doesn't really change the nutrient composition of the food basically. So you get like frozen broccolis, you get like frozen blueberries, you also get frozen, you know, those mixed vegetables with the beets, the carrots, the corns. All of that, you can probably get it off the supermarket for far cheap, basically, if you're running on a budget. Frozen chicken breasts are really good. You can also get like frozen white fish. 5% beef minces are relatively quite expensive. So you can probably skip out on the red meat, or you can probably get them in offers. You know, you can also buy food from the fruits and vegetable vendors on the streets, basically. You know, like I've seen that happen in Russia, I've seen that happen in Moscow, in India, I've seen it in Vietnam. You can get off your food from the fruits and vegetables market from the streets basically. That's far more fresher and it's cheaper as well compared to like supermarkets. So that would be another tool in the box. Potatoes would be really, really good. So, and you don't need to buy like expensive oils to cook your food in. You can just simply use like coconut oil or even ghee or butter or olive oil basically. Olive oil should not be used for cooking, by the way, because if you heat it, it's got a low heating point and the olive oil becomes toxic. That's not good for you. It's better to use it as a bit of a garnish. That makes perfect sense. Nuts, right? Salted nuts instead of like organic nuts is also another good idea. Buying fruits in bulk, buying frozen fruits, that's another good idea. Protein shakes are actually good, by the way. Eggs. So you can do this. These are the foods that you pretty much already eat, and then you can adjust your calories and macros in a way that you can keep your protein on the lower end of the protein reference range. So most of the people are supposed to have anywhere between something like 1 gram per pound of body weight when it comes to their protein intake during the cutting phase, 1 to 2 grams. For those people who can afford, I really push their protein intake up, but you can keep your protein low, you can keep your fats low, and you can keep your carbs high, because carbs tend to have like a protein sparing effect basically. Yes, it might not be ideal, but if you're still progressing in the gym with this particular macronutrient split, I mean, it's working. All you need is a bit of a caloric deficit to drop body fat, and if you want to gain muscle, you need a slight little caloric surplus. It's that simple. Then what else? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward with regards to nutrition. Then with regards to supplements, now far too many people complicate supplements because people like to take something rather than do something. Well, probably say like use this food tracking application known as Cronometer. It's for free. That lets you track your nutrients, and you can just supplement the missing gaps of nutrients by supplementing things. But a basic multivitamin, whether it's for men or women, is actually going to be pretty good. You can get it off iHerb.com. iHerb.com is quite cheap. Always batch and bulk buy supplements. That's what makes it really cheap. Omega-3s, don't cheap out on omega-3s. But if you can't afford omega-3s, you can have like fatty fishes like salmon, mackerel, not smoked salmon. But it's far more expensive in the long run to have like fatty fish daily rather than like purchasing a good quality fish oil. A good quality fish oil in the short run, in the long run, will save you far more money than you having like salmon or like fatty fishes every day. That might seem expensive in the short run, but in the long run, it saves you a lot of money. So buying a good quality fish oil, Carlson, you can get it off iHerb.com, is pretty good. Buy it in the form of a syrup. Don't buy it in the form of capsules, because the capsules are relatively more expensive. And vitamin D3, most of the people are indoors most of the day, as a result of which they don't really get enough vitamin D3. It's such a basic nutrient. And if you're on the browner side when it comes to skin complexion, if you're like Indian like me, or if you're Asian, if you're South American, it makes more sense for you to go and supplement with like vitamin D3. That's what I'll tell you for sure. Zinc, magnesium, you don't really need it. Creatine, you don't even need it. I mean, I take creatine, but I don't feel a difference with it. If you got the money, yes, the next thing that I'll probably tell you is go and buy creatine, basically. Some people feel a difference with it. Some people, no, most of the people feel a major difference with it, but I don't know. Like, creatine is good, and you don't need to buy an expensive creatine. Just the cheap, unflavored creatine is going to be good enough, basically. Don't cheap out on fish oils. Multivitamin, you can go and get it from your home country as well. If you're based in India, it's going to be dead cheap. Now, when it comes to the applications that you're supposed to use to perhaps to track your weights or to track your fitness progress or to track your calories, etc. MyFitnessPal, the free version, is good. Cronometer, the free version, is good. Why do I prefer Cronometer versus MyFitnessPal? Because Cronometer actually doesn't only track your macros and macronutrients. It doesn't only track your proteins, carbs, and fats, but it also checks your like minerals, electrolytes, your sodium, your potassium, your micronutrients, and that simply ensures that you're not in a nutrient deficiency, and that saves you the cost in supplements. So Cronometer is really good. I'm going to put all these links at the bottom below so that it's going to be easier for you guys. Then what else? Yeah, when it comes to tracking your progress inside the gym, you don't need a fancy app. You can just simply use a logbook. Just take like a small diary, note down your weights and reps, and try to beat them every week, on a week by week basis, basically. So that's like dead simple. $200 for gym. On average, you're probably going to be spending something like 500 to 600 dirhams on food. So that's like 700 dirhams. On the top end, if you're like really big, then a notebook is of zero cost. Supplements is going to be something like 100 dirhams per month, or like 150. So give or take, something like you just spent 850 dirhams so far. 850 dirhams is going to be something like $250 US or $200 US per month, basically. Now, if you want to do things right, I'd highly suggest, not because I'm a coach, go and get a coach, because investing in a coach in the short run might seem pricey, but then in the long run, it's going to save you a fuck ton of money. Like a fuck ton of money, because you save so much time by not doing the wrong thing. You save so much time by doing the right thing right from the start. Or if you can't afford a coach, purchase like a few fitness books or take consultations with coaches like, hey, this is what I have. I'm on a bit of a budget. If you can just tell me, point me in the right direction and just tell me what am I supposed to do, and I'll probably go and do by myself. That would be like so much more better. Purchase like fitness books basically, read up on nutrition, read up on training. Things like my channel is pretty good. Things like following people like Dr. Mike Israetel, following people like for training basically, following people like Eric Helms. They're really, really good for nutrition, although I try to cover all of these things on my podcast as well. You know, so don't follow the Instagram influencer who's just flexing his abs, although I did that today morning in my stories. Follow the Instagram influencer who's got results, who delivers constant value, be it on his podcast or on his videos, and do what they do, basically. It's that dead simple, right? And the last thing, you gotta be fucking consistent, no matter how hard your time is. I get it, you know? Like, I've been through hard times when it comes to being on a budget and bodybuilding, but, you know, I made it work, right? And it was one of the best de-stressors that I've ever experienced in my entire life. So, yeah, give or take, it's probably going to cost you something like 850 dirhams per month, literally. And if you add in a coach on top of that, maximum is going to probably cost you something like, in total, 2,000 dirhams per month, basically. That's like what? Something like $600, basically. $600 per month, like, and you got yourself covered. This is, an average person spends something like $200 US per week on shit food and drinks to get them away from the life that they want, basically, you know, to get them unhealthy, lethargic. So do yourself a favor, get your head out of your ass, even if you're on a budget, and make things work, basically. People, if you found this useful, feel free to like, share, subscribe, follow me, follow my podcast, follow me on Instagram, follow my YouTube channel. I'm going to paste all of the relevant links below, and have a nice one. A big double bicep flex. Well, not a double bicep, like a single bicep. I don't really know if you can see the bicep. For you guys to stay positive whilst being broke or whilst you're trying to make it, basically. Trust me, you guys can make it.